Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come here, Lord, and your word encourages us over and over to seek after righteousness, to watch our own tongues, and Lord, to do what is right and to have a long vision for where we're going. God, I pray that for each of the leaders in this community, for this board, up and down the coast, across this state, Lord. We ask that you'd help us to have a long vision on where you're taking us, to seek to obey you in each and every step along the way. God, we ask that you bless this time we have here. Bless those who are leading it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Councilor Thrash, would you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item, Chair would like to entertain a motion to amend the agenda. I think you have copies of it on the Personnel Department. Discussion of American Global Business Travel Card, discussion of alternative parking options due to closure of the parking garage.
Motion.
Do I hear a second? And, excuse me, one more before we take. Also recognize Judge Jennifer Slogel to address the board for a few minutes. If the chair, that would be included in the motion. Yeah. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no. Motion carried. Judge Slogel?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you all for letting me speak this morning. It's good to be home. I've been on the campaign trail and in 11 counties, but here I am. I know most everyone here. I consider you friends. And let me say, first of all, I'm in the runoff election for the Court of Appeals. It is in 2 weeks from today. And my opponent, as you know, is from Jackson County. Harrison County has held this seat on the Court of Appeals since its inception in 1995. We do not need to lose this seat to Jackson County. Jackson County is already represented on that court. We only have 2 positions. They already have 1 judge, and ours is the next one. It's very important that the coast and Harrison County and really our district, Harrison, Hancock, and Stone, but our district be represented, and that's very important. I am the only full-time judge running. My opponent, it has an upstanding legal career as a lawyer. She is a part-time municipal judge. That's about 2 hours a week in Goshen. She's done that for 3 years since 2021. I have been admitted to the practice of law for 33 years. The last 14 of those years, I have been a full-time Chancery Court judge. I have been elected 4 times in Harrison, Hancock, and Stone County. My opponent has never been elected to public office. I would like to say that I have been sorely tested as a judge. I have been put under pressure. Some of you here in this room have maybe even put me there, Mr. Holman.
You've had problems with him?
Oh, no, never. Never. But I have, I think, proven myself that I've been able to withstand political and community and social pressure to make the right decision. That's always been my focus. It doesn't always make everyone happy, but I understand very clearly what my job is, and that is to be a public servant. My judgments that have gone on appeal to the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court have been upheld 32 of 33 times. I think that clearly shows that I have a sound record of making good legal decisions, and I will continue to do that. I actually hear appeals now. As a Chancery Court judge, we hear appeals from county court and municipal court. So I have appellate experience as well. I want you to know that despite a lot of the rhetoric that was said during the campaign, that 70% of the Court of Appeals, the appeals are civil appeals. I have the raw numbers from the AOC from 2023. They sent them directly to me. If you'd like to see them, I can send them to you. 70%. There's 30% are direct criminal appeals. Frankly, those are not difficult appeals. They have to do with sentencing, procedural issues, and whatever. The most difficult appeals are the civil appeals. The kind of cases that I have: public corruption, government litigation, commercial litigation, contract disputes, family matters. I've heard just a plethora of land disputes. The land disputes sometimes are the worst cases that we have. Mr. Hallman didn't bother me on any one of those. But, so I'm here to tell you that I am willing to serve. I've been serving this community for 14 years. I want to serve the entire state, and I think that I will serve you very well. And I sure would appreciate your vote and your consideration in 2 weeks. It's very important that we can get Harrison County out to vote. Obviously, we're the only people on the ballot, and so not many people know or care about judicial elections, but I think we all know that it's very important who sits on our appellate courts. Anybody have any questions or want to make a comment?
No, ma'am.
I'll say the only negative thing I could say about Jennifer is we hate to lose her as a chancellor. She's been an excellent chancellor. She's been in some controversial cases and has done well. You may remember the DMR case involving the Open Records Act, which she was affirmed on.
I was affirmed. I was reversed by the Court of Appeals, and then they were reversed by the Supreme Court, so I was affirmed.
She also handled one of the Tidelands cases, which was a well-written decision. She has an assistant that needs to get some credit. She's very bright, and they both. One thing I'll say about Jennifer that's really important, in my opinion, is when she literally, when you're trying a case, will leave the courtroom sometimes one time an hour, and she comes back and dictates her opinion into the record, and then draws the judgment later. So you don't wait, 2 or 3 months or whatever time it takes to write an opinion. She's smart, very talented. I hate to lose her as a chancellor, but and some may disagree with me on that. But I've been there with experience myself. And Ms. St. Pay is a very nice person, but qualifications Jennifer has. So everybody needs to get out and vote.
Thank you.
Anybody else on the board?
No, sir.
Thank you very
All
much.
right. Thank you all.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all for your service, and I appreciate it. All right.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. This time, the chair will recognize Abigail Dara, PhD, Senior Coast Biologist, to request permission to set up radio antennas in the fenced utility area of the southeast corner of the Coliseum ground as part of the Seabird Conservation Project. Dr. Dara?
Yes, thank you. Just a kind of a very brief overview of what this is. This is a collaborative project between Audubon and Mississippi State, funded through a Natural Resource Damage Assessment to study least term movements. And the way we're going about this is setting up these radio antenna stations that detect radio signals from the tags that we're placing on lease turns. So we've piloted this project. We started it this year. We're looking to expand. The lease turn colony across from the Beauvoir House and across from the Coliseum is one of our star colonies. It's occupied most years, and they do really well. And it'll be a very important component of this research project. And so we're seeking permission. It is my understanding that this area is owned or managed by Harrison County, this fenced utility area. So what we are proposing is something very similar to what we've done at Lynn Meadows, which is to erect the antennas on one of the existing power poles that's up there. We would hook our computerized equipment to this. We are powered ourselves via solar. And then this would be an ideal location for tracking the birds that are at the Beauvoir location. So we are seeking permission to do that.
Sounds good. Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I hear a second to grant
Yeah.
the request.
Yes, sir.
All in favor, signify by aye. Those opposed by no. Motion carries.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
All right. Chair at this time will recognize Jed Reagan and Brian Fassbender with AME Trust Benefits to discuss free advanced blood screening for county employees. Mr. Reagan and Mr. Fassbender, are they here?
Well, they were flying in from out of town. They may have had challenge.
If we can just wait, if they come in, we'll recognize them.
Okay.
Went to the wrong courthouse.
Is that the ones that went to, that could be possibly be them?
Was she just?
Okay, we'll wait, and when they come in, we'll recognize them. Okay, consider accident claim filed by Ernest Cawthorn. Incident occurred October 1st, 2024 on Canal Road. Mr. Cawthorn? Yes, sir. Just your name and address for the record and tell us what.
My name's Ernest Coughlin, 903 Alvarado Drive, Long Beach, Mississippi.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just, I didn't, first I ever done this. So, she said just show up. Like I say, I was driving down Canal Road on this date. They were weed eating along the side of the road. There was no signs nowhere showing any type of mowing. As I passed the first weed eater, rocks hit my truck, knocked the paint off in 4 sections. Went on down, there was another weed eater. That time I was smart enough to blow the horn to look up and erase the weed eater up. So I haven't actually got past him and went straight home and called, and this is where we're at.
Okay. Did you say there were no signs?
There was no signs.
No signs. Did somebody investigate this? Lisa?
I did. The time I got the call, the guys had picked up the sign. I spoke to the lead person, picked up the sign. They were on their way. They went to lunch and moved on to the next area to cut the grass, and they was placing the signs out there.
I'm not sure I understand. Were the signs removed while they were
They-
working?
The signs were removed after they finished working. The
After
time I
they
got the
finished?
call, they had finished working. They went to lunch, so they picked up the signs and moved to the next area. They told me. But I got a picture of the weed eaters and stuff.
Okay.
I got,
They know to put signs out.
I got pictures.
They know to put signs out. when
The
I-
report says the signs are out, though.
I'm sure they were out.
Well, let's just say this, back in the same area a week ago, Thursday, on Canal in 28, they were weeding again. I got pictures, no signs, no direction, they were weed eating, no signs out.
Where were the signs located, Lisa?
They used to put them on the beginning of the traffic, letting the traffic warn south and one north. So they're warning people right there before they get to the weed eat. Cause they, weed eat on the rail, that bridge on Canal.
That's north of Landon Road.
No, south.
I'm sorry,
South of Landon.
south of Landon Road.
North of 28. North of
Okay.
28.
I got you, on Canal Road.
Right, closer to 28th Street.
Yeah,
So they put a sign before, like on 28th Street by the store, and then they put another one by the, close by the railroad track, and one right there on the bridge.
okay. All right. Mr. Cawthorn, you're saying they didn't have.
They
the
did
signs.
not, nor did they have them when I was going back to 10 the other day. They did not have
And
them.
they were working.
They were working, they were weed eating again.
Tim?
Now, you know, we're, west of the, canal, and city is east of canal. So it
Right.
depends on what side you're on. Cause canal, we're west, and city is,
I don't think the city of Gulfport would object if we put it on their side of the road if we're weed eating out there.
No.
Tim, would you?
Their side of the road is still in the county, so the county can put signs over
That's what I'm
there.
saying, you can't expect traffic if signs facing north, one road direction, you can't expect the other direction to see a
Right.
sign and look in the rearview mirror and see.
I'm talking about the cutting. I don't know who, he said he went out there, he didn't see no sign. I don't know if the city was on the city
Oh,
side.
what you're saying,
or
the
county
second
side.
time,
Right.
y'all weren't out,
I don't
county
know,
was not
I don't know
out.
what they talking about. So I don't, it could have been the city side of canal. Yeah,
No, that particular time,
at that time he said that.
that's a tough.
Tim might wanna address the legal.
I mean, the question is, and, you know, you have to mow the grass, you know that, and you have to weed eat. And the guards are on the weed eaters, so that's what's required. The signs are put up to warn people so that they can take another route if they choose to. Otherwise, you're assuming the risk that a rock may get thrown.
Okay, there's no other route though.
Well,
I mean, once I'm down on Canal, there's no other way to turn around.
understand what? You're the one that has to tell the board how the county's negligent, so maybe I put it back, tell, how was the county negligent? How would they exercise reasonable care to prevent what happened?
Well, A, they could have had signs. Two, if you're weed eating on a street like Canal where there's traffic going both ways, guardrails on one side, if you have to put people at each end and stop traffic while they do it, I mean, I don't know. I mean, once I turned on it, there's no other way I could go. I slowed down. I tried to move over as much as I could. I mean, with traffic, there's nowhere else. If you ever been down Canal, you know there's nowhere to go. I mean, you got a guardrail here and you got oncoming traffic here. So, I mean, I just did the best I could.
I understand.
I mean,
It's up to the board to adjudicate. I mean, my
Well, there's
question is, he obviously saw the weed eaters and proceeded on whatever. I don't know what he could do about it. That's up to the board to adjudicate if the county was failed to exercise reasonable care in some manner and caused some damage.
I guess
It's
the
not
issue
necessary.
revolves around the signs.
Whether, unfortunately, we don't know because they don't have the county people here to say the signs were up or not. Maybe the board might want to table it and get somebody from the road department to come in and say whether the signs were there or not. But again, it's up to the board. We've been listening to this for a long time. I've never not seen them not have the signs up.
Right.
you want to see pictures?
No, I don't disbelieve you. I just.
I mean, there was no sign.
At the time your truck was damaged, you're saying there were no signs.
There was no signs at the time my truck was damaged.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Normally, we have the county patrolman that comes and says the signs were out, so that's
Yeah.
unusual to have. But, I mean,
That would be unusual. Nobody's here from district, is
It's me.
it? Just you?
Yeah, and like I said, they know to put signs out.
She didn't have
Every
the
department.
opportunity to see the signs because what happened is they said they left.
Went to lunch.
Went
So
to
they picked
lunch.
up all the equipment, went to lunch. By the time I got the call, went out there and investigated.
But they were there during the time
They
that
were-
Mr. Horn said his truck was damaged.
Yeah, so they moved to another area after lunch, and they was
They
on.
moved the traffic. By the time you
By the
got
time I got there.
it, what's the pleasure of the board?
So basically, our guys said they had the sign down. When they finished with their work, they moved the signs and left. And you're saying that there was no signs?
There was no signs when I came through there. There was no signs on Canal.
And every
Tim,
department knows
let
to put the
me
signs
ask
out.
Tim to address. Tim, is
Yeah,
that, do y'all,
it's mandatory for our crews, when they get to a job site, it's the first thing they do is put their signs out, men working. That means they're in a construction zone then. Now, like they say, they was working, had the signs out, they picked them up, and once they was done, and went to lunch. When they come back, they set the signs up in a different area and started working in that area. But it is mandatory through the road department that when a crew goes to work on the side of the road, them signs are up.
all right,
Mandatory does not mean though that it's done, because they didn't do it.
Now, what part of that construction zone was he in that he didn't see them signs and he took them pictures? You don't know.
all right, what's the pleasure of the board?
I have to make a motion to deny.
Do I hear a second? Do I hear a second? Deny the claim?
I'll second it.
Second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
I was told that was gonna happen.
All right, at this time, consider the accident claim of Atlas Boris. Incident occurred October 22nd, 2024 on Pass Road. Mr. Boris?
Mr. Boris may not have come because Mr. Warren asked me to get this on the agenda. It's a rear-end collision. County employee rear-ended somebody, I think on Highway Pass Road, and caused damage to the vehicle. There were no injuries. And so I told him to put it on the agenda, so the board could go ahead and pay the claim.
We liable. We feel.
He rear-ended. Yeah, the guy's very nice, not claiming injury, just wants his car fixed, and it's not a fault they asked to speed it up. I said, put it on the agenda, I didn't see any controversy about it.
Okay, hearing attorney's, information, do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Motion to pay the claims. Do I hear a second? I'll second.
Okay, I want the board
I'm
to.
sorry, in
if you get
discussion.
a- Yeah, if you get a chance, read the accident report, because there were some issues in this case that maybe Robbie wants to
Saw
talk
that.
to the driver.
Yes,
I saw that.
I read it.
Robin, did,
When it happened,
Yeah, hold on just a minute. Yeah, and I guess the board, we can make the check out to whoever, to order to say the sales tax. If the company, would direct that the company bill the county directly, when paid out of tort claims, the county doesn't have to pay sales tax.
Okay.
Just save $150.
so bill the county direct.
That's correct. We'll tell them that.
Robert, have you had an opportunity to
this accident,
get to see this accident and report and some issues that you might need to deal with?
It's dealt with.
Good. Okay, all in favor, signify by aye. Those opposed by no, motion carries. All right, did Mr. Reagan or Mr. Fassbender come in?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll recognize y'all at this time. If you want to come before the board, identify yourself, please. That's Regan, I'm sorry, I said Reagan, it's Regan.
it's Regan, yes.
That'll work. Good morning. My name is A.G. Crow, and I'm the CFO for Malady Health, which is a medical technology company, and I'll tie together the relationship between myself and Mr. Reagan in a moment. Brian Fassbender is handing out the packet, of which you may have received an email already. By the way, we're at the other location, so we apologize for being a little bit behind schedule.
That's
here.
all right.
I live right there in Pearl River, just across the border, and I've had the privilege of working with your legislators, in fact, the mayor of Gulfport, Billy Hughes, when I was in the Senate and the House in Louisiana. But I escaped the asylum about 8 years ago, and I'm almost back to normal. I want to thank you all for your service. Malady Health basically was formed as a result of the pandemic. We all know that this affected everybody pretty much globally. One of the things that we recognized from the pandemic was the fact that most people didn't die of COVID. They died of some underlying disease, some other medical issue that they didn't know they had. We formed Malady with actually one of your local doctors here who happens to live in Pearl River, Stan Owen, who has an office here over in Gulfport. And we teamed up with a scientist that owns a CLIA certified lab, and we developed what we call a comprehensive wellness profile, which is a fancy three-word statement for a blood test, which is a preventive measure, which is what the U.S. has been trying to do for many, many, many years, but without any success. But the pandemic sort of gave this concept of preventive care legs, in that preventive care is where you find out what's going on in your body well before anything serious happens or before a disease gets sick. Catching it early is your best chance of survival. Our whole medical system, I refer to as a sick care system, because we don't go to the doctor unless something goes wrong, or if we feel bad, or if we have an accident. And what we're all about is a 135 biomarker blood test that allows you to be able to take that information, that data, to your physician and say, look through this and see if I got anything going on. And of course, if you find something, like if your PSA level is a little high or whatever, that's an early indication that you've got prostate issues and so on. We had a great product, a great idea, a great concept, but we had one major problem in front of us, and that's how do we get the general public to see this and to accept this? And because it wasn't covered by Medicare and Medicaid, and because it wasn't typically covered by insurance, even though the cost of our comprehensive wellness profile is only $540, which is about $2,300 from a competitor, it was very difficult to get the word out because insurance did not cover it. Until we discovered a company, or a few companies out there, that specializes in supplemental or gap insurance or other types of insurance that were able to facilitate the delivery of this concept to anybody and everybody in the USA and be covered. Further, they're going to explain this in just a second, this is their expertise. This is done through a federal program, so there's no net cost. So I'm not sure how many employees you have in Harrison County. I think it was somewhere at 500 if
Well,
I.
probably about 900 would be close to including the sheriff's department,
962.
960.
Wow, okay. Well, anyway, the bottom line is this, they mostly have health care, and they may even split some of the cost of health care, but they don't have preventive health care. And there's a program, a national program that they're gonna get into, that basically allows for the preventive care system, including our test at no cost, or net cost, no cost, to all of your employees. I'm gonna turn it over to Jed, let him explain all that.
Thank you, A.J. Thank you for seeing us today. Jed Regan of AME Trust Benefits. I'm the president of AME. It's my pleasure to be here today. Thank you. AME Trust Benefits has a health and wellness program. It's called Protection Plus. This program allows for the county to put in this broad-based program which has coverages such as first dollar gap insurance, accident plan, and our allied wellness health coaches. The allied wellness health coaches are the ones that will be distributing the malady down to the employees. Allied Wellness is our sister organization. The health coaches are all medical experts. They're all have all medical degrees. They will be reaching out to anyone that wants to be part of this program. It is a voluntary benefit. Through tax dollar savings, and I'll explain that. It's in the booklets, but basically, this is a pre-tax benefit. So there's immediate FICA savings for the county. For that offsets the cost of the plan completely. When we show you dollar for dollar, you'll see that there's a 7.65% FICA savings on the plan. Based on the cost of the plan, that tax savings covers the county's costs. On the employee side, because they're participating in the plan, it's payroll deducted, but because they're participating, they're also reimbursed under health and wellness tax codes for being compliant and being active. When we look at how that math works between their tax savings and their reimbursement, most of them, if not all of them, will be seeing exactly the same paycheck, if not a few extra dollars in their paycheck. And what do they get for all that? Well, again, they're gonna get allied wellness, they're gonna have malady through allied wellness, they're gonna have additional coverages. Gap insurance for major medical plans is first dollar coverage, meaning, let's say someone hasn't met their deductible yet, and they wanna go get a CAT scan, or the doctor says, you need to get this MRI. Well, normally that could be $2,000. But if they have the AME gap card, they provide that gap card to the provider. The provider bills AME directly for that. So the employee doesn't have to go into their pocket. They don't have to worry about how they're gonna pay for this test. They get the test. It also covers them, of course, if there's an inpatient situation, they're going to the hospital. Now, we have agreed through this coverage to also cover family members as well. So if an employee opts into this plan during open enrollment, if they've got a spouse, a child, and they want to include them in the plan, we're covering them at no extra cost as well. The other coverage that we also provide is our accident coverage. Everyone's seen Aflac, they've seen the duck, they know what accident coverage is. We reimburse somebody if they break something, they get a fracture, they're in an accident. That coverage has a full blanket of reimburses back to the employee. We all know if someone gets injured, there's all those underlying expenses that hit them at home, right? Whether it's needing a caregiver or just paying some bills, that helps them out tremendously. And on that coverage as well, if they opt in, they can during open enrollment, they can pick up they want to add their dependents, their spouse to that plan too, they can. So we have a really great wraparound coverage. And the most important thing to understand is that we do not coordinate with whatever health plan that's in place. Meaning we're not taking away anything they currently have. We're only adding additional benefits to what's in their world with this plan. We have a full staff to help administrate this and get this off the ground completely. I have a dedicated staff that helps with all these types of plans. We've been doing it for a bunch of years. We know this world really well. It's in our wheelhouse, and we look forward to this opportunity.
I'm curious, Mr. Regan, what coverage do y'all provide that is not a normal coverage of, our regular, generally insurance coverage? I don't know, eyes, hearing, what else? Anything else like that? What would you?
I always talk about the gap coverage, which is the real big ticket thing that most people don't have in the world.
All right, what are some of the gaps that you fill in?
So if you go into the hospital and you haven't met your deductible or your max out of pocket, that's a big donor hole for you or for someone who has health insurance. They could be looking at, let's say they get admitted to a hospital. They could have a few $1,000s out of pocket before their insurance kicks in because they have such a high deductible. Our plan covers that. So I always say to folks that we're talking about the big ticket stuff that hurts people financially. That's what we're covering. When we're not covering a doctor copay, we're not covering a prescription that's in your health plan. Those are fees, but they're nowhere near what it would be if you got involved in a hospital situation. And that's what this coverage does. It takes care of people and helps them financially in those tough times.
Are y'all aware that, within the memorial system, we don't have a deductible, we just pay a copay, right?
Do you have a max out of pocket?
No, because we're part owner of Memorial Hospital, and so through that, I mean, if we're within that network, we don't pay it. Right.
We also have a health
copay.
clinic.
Clinics that we use as well, that offset the MRIs, we go through the clinics, and there's a reduced price on those.
We
ticket items.
have the flexibility in our plan, because I'm the one who built it, either offer gap coverage. But if your plan, like you said, if there's no deductible max out of pocket.
Now, if we're out of network, I think we have a $5,000.
What we could very easily do is instead, we also have a hospital indemnity plan, which reimburses people directly similar to the accident plan. It is really very simple for us to, because we sell, one plan is a sister plan to the other. We can easily just do our hospital indemnity plan, which, like the accident plan, will reimburse somebody directly if they get hospitalized. So that, again, that's helping them for those ancillary expenses they have trying to recover. It's putting money back into their world. Both plans are identical in how they work. Both plans have exactly the same function with FICA savings. It's really just picking the benefit which will be best for the employees of the county. I really appreciate you mentioning that, Nathan, because we can easily just drop that right in.
Carl, you mentioned something about preventive care, for example, blood tests or something that would not normally be covered on the insurance that one could.
No,
Yeah.
typically, I guess the key word is asymptomatic issues. Going back to the statement I made about COVID, most people were, on the death certificate died of COVID, or that was a contributing factor, but the underlying disease that was asymptomatic in most cases was what really caused the death. When someone goes into the doctor's office, they go there because they have a headache or they're dizzy or they got an accident or whatever, and the doctor asks what's going on, and they explain to the doctor this. They're not going to talk about pancreatic cancer because there's no symptoms of that until third or fourth stage, which is really too late. So what's happening in our medical community today, all over the country, it's been happening for years, is that asymptomatic sicknesses are hardly ever detected. And that's why we have an out-of-control $1 trillion deficit, mainly because of healthcare and the rising cost of healthcare. So the preventive care strategy has been around. In fact, it was the ACA in 2010 that first introduced an incentive through these tax codes that's in this package that would allow employers, through the FICA tax savings, paid for, instead of giving the FICA money to the government every month or every paycheck, it's managed by a third-party system company like these guys that goes into paying for and covering the cost of preventive health care. That was set up by the ACA. It's a participatory program. Basically, it's designed to get people to think about preventive care. When you go to a doctor, they're going to give you maybe 4 or 5 tests because that's what the insurance company determines. Then if that doesn't happen, that doesn't really anything, go back again, off work, copay, if there are copays involved. And this can go on and on. So the flip side of that is if we can go one time, one blood draw. In fact, we have phlebotomist network all over the nation. We test people right here in this county and in Hancock County. All over the nation, we have a phlebotomist network where we can go on our website, malady.co, and schedule a phlebotomist. We send them to their home, their office, or wherever. If it's a business with 500 people, we can accommodate getting the number of phlebotomists there. The idea is to get 135 biomarkers. In the back of this binder is a sample of a male and a female, redacted of course, test. It's 8 pages of about 135 markers that gives you a glimpse of what's going on in your body all at one time. If you have multiple blood tests back and forth over a period of months, that's not going to help you because your blood changes all the time. But one of these once a year is a major step in a preventive care field. That's going to help you, identify issues early, find those asymptomatic diseases, which will never be talked about if you don't share it with the doctor because you don't feel anything. Does that answer your question?
This is share a little personal issues. I got friends that are councilmen in Bay St. Louis and have friends that are councilmen in Slidell. I got a friend of mine, Greg Coleman, is the mayor in Slidell. When we talked about this, the biggest thing was to try to do is bring in a wellness plan to prevent these things that happen. Well, a friend of mine, Gene Hoffman, is a friend of mine, he got cancer. That's, me and him talked about it many times. That's why we're meeting with Mike Reese, and we want to try to prevent this stuff from happening. My brother's a captain at the fire department, and he said, one of his buddies got cancer at 40-something, 50 years old. And, this is all preventative. It's all preventative. And that's, I went to a year, and A.G. Crow, our state senator, he called me every other day and checked on me and said, man, I got parasites, and I got real sick. And I'm gonna tell you, all the hospitals, I've been to all of them, and regionally. Nobody can catch it. Nobody can detect it. And, go for a year for that. And we have the technology, we have this sitting right here where we can blood test you in advance. And I can tell you, it looks like you're starting to develop cancer and a few other things. Let's get you taken care of before you get too sick. I got friends of mine that are going to Anderson back and forth now, personally, that, it's years of dealing with that. We have something we can prevent it with. The reason why AME came in with AmTrust is to try to give us a program that's going to give us a hospitalization, give us a gap and everything else, part of the program. Because remember, it's no net cost to the employees. And the county actually saves a ton of money by implementing a plan like this. So I think we had an illustration, because of me, I put on 500 people on the illustration. On what page is that? And it shows the money that goes back into the county.
Towards the back.
Towards the back.
Yeah.
On a net savings of 500 employees, you're looking at about 280,000 to the county savings, implement a plan like this. And all we implement is nothing, we addition to what we already have, we just add this at no net cost. And it gets all these things of value that comes to it. But the biggest thing for the county, you're looking at real dollars and savings. Once we start reducing that FICA. You want to explain that part a little bit better than I did?
Well, yeah, I sort of covered in the very beginning, because this is a pre-tax deduction, that's 7.65%. When you do the math on what the plan costs, that gives us these dollars right back to the county. Now, there are administrative costs that are billed every month, but those are immediately offset by the FICA savings. So you'll see a bill, and then you'll see the FICA savings, which will dwarf the bill that Allied Wellness charges. They charge $45 per person to be part of the plan. But when we do the math, that $45 is completely absorbed by the FICA savings. And that $45 includes malady testing, includes the health coaches, includes telemedicine, which is also part of this plan as well. You may have that with your current health plan here, but this won't ding the claims issue where it goes right through AME. We also have mental illness that we cover as well. And last but not least, which we have not mentioned, Allied Wellness has an app, and inside of that app allows the employees to reach out and talk to their health coaches. It also has a facial scan technology, which reads vascular information in someone's face, and it comes back, lets them know if there's a high blood pressure issue or some other medical issues. So a diagnostic scan right off their phone.
And talking to United and Blue Cross and all them, once they recognize the wellness plan that's in place, it should reduce the healthcare costs around 20-30%. So real numbers. Not only are we getting money back by county through this program, we also offsetting 20-30% of the healthcare costs, and we bring in all this technology with the blood biomarkers, the face screening capabilities. All these things is part of it, and it's one of the things. Talking to a lot of the mayors and stuff like that, and talking to one of the governors in Louisiana, this is what the municipalities need. Can you build this? And so I went to a CEO, president of a company, and AG, which is a former senator, and said, guys, this is what we have available. How can we build it out? And these guys helped me build it out to bring it to y'all today. So, we're excited. We hope y'all see the value of what we worked on for the last year and a half. We really think it's gonna help out tremendously.
And really for us, the desired outcome is just to, and that's why we sent the email early, so you'll have a chance to review it and look at it and have questions ready for it. And secondly, to bring the hard copy for you to take a look at it. But the desired outcome is to make sure that you all were totally informed about what we're looking at, why we're partnering together, and basically give you the position to be able to take a lead in preventive health care for the benefit of everyone that works for the county. Not to mention that their family members can also be covered.
Yes, they can.
And then the good news is it's net zero cost. It's just unbelievable. So the desired outcome is just mainly to get your approval from this body to move forward, to work with your designated representative within the county to vet through and go through and finalize and get the information so that we can prepare a proposal. And then at that point in time, present the proposal, and then if it's something that you see and it's validated by your staff, then we move forward with
So basically, you said the net zero cost is the fact that it's pre-FICA. Any cost that goes out is pre-FICA, that is, we say it, FICA.
You're saving on FICA, yes.
FICA. Taxes.
Yes.
And the codes relative to those are in the package. There's 3 different codes and so on. But, I'm not an insurance expert, I'm not a CPA, and I'm not an attorney, and I don't know how many of you all are. I know we have one attorney here, that's Mr. Holman. But given the scope of the decision and the somewhat complexity of the tax codes and all that, we just would recommend, again, giving us the opportunity to move it forward, to have your staff vetted, contingent upon them having, vetted and approved it and provided census information so that we can get the final proposal.
Any questions or comments from the board?
I don't have it.
I think that what we'll do is just take this under advisement. Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by aye. Those opposed by no, the motion carried. We've taken it under advisement. Appreciate y'all.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Let's see. Reports to the board. Order concurring with and approving the resolution of the Harris County Development Commission accepting the bid of 3D Contracts Incorporated for annual land clearing and grubbing of parcels within the Harris County's 3 industrial parks, Gulfport, Long Beach, and Saucia, Mississippi. Chair, and do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Any discussion? Bill?
Bill?
Anything?
This is just if we need it, it's a habit if we need it.
And that's the lowest bid?
Yes.
I only saw one bid. Did you have, how many bids did you have?
This is just in case? Just in case. If you had anything that needs.
Just like debris contractors, you
Needs
just
to
gotta
be-
have it just in case.
Yep.
How many
It's
bids did
$1,000
you get?
more per acre than.
How many bids did you receive?
I don't recall.
I only saw the lowest one.
2, I think,
2? Okay.
2 or 3.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Order concurring with approving the resolution of the Harris County Development Commission accepting the bid of Prestige Construction and Land Services Incorporated for annual dirt, sand, excuse me, and aggregates hauling to parcels situated within the Harris County 3 industrial parks, Gulfport, Long Beach, and Saucia.
Motion.
Discussion?
Same thing.
Same thing. How many bidders did you have? 3?
We had 3 on this one.
All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carried. Thank you, Bill. Do I have some more here for you?
We got
We got
more.
some more. Order concurring with a resolution of Harris County Development Commission approving and accepting the bid of Energy Systems Southeast LLC in the amount of $103,301 for backup generators.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order concurring and approving with the resolution of the Harris County Development Commission authorizing and approving the memorandum of understanding between Harris County Development Commission, Harris County Board of Supervisors, and Keep Hewitt Corporation for a 5-year tax abatement pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated section 27-31-101. Do I hear a motion?
Motion. Second.
Second discussion. Bill, why are we doing a memorandum of understanding?
Because
With
when
the
these
tax-
projects come in, the customer and MDA want to know that the county is doing something to support the expansion, and nothing gets activated until the project is completed and the building goes on the tax roll. So we have to have something in the
That's what I'm
front.
not sure of when I read this thing. Are we saying that, the project is not gonna be completed till the fourth quarter of '25?
Correct.
And so the tax exemption is not gonna start until after they actually,
It'll be 26.
So this
26.
isn't us this is just a MOU saying that we will do this.
Well,
So to take something to MDA, like, the tourism tax credit or something, you have, the municipality that's in has to do a MOU approving that before they go to MDA. That's one of the requirements
Well, this is the
for them
first
to be
time-
approved by MDA
But
to
this-
get their grant.
this is the first time it ever happened. So it's a grant. This is the.
No, this is basically, the company is gonna do an expansion on their existing facility. And in doing that, they're requesting a tax abatement when the project is complete. But in order to do all that ahead of time, MDA wants to know what the local contribution is, which would be a tax abatement, in order to give the incentives that the customer's looking for from MDA.
What you're asking for is a resolution from the Board of Supervisors committing to a tax exemption that will begin in 2006.
But
I'm
26.
excuse me, 2026.
But right now, all it is an understanding that when the project's complete, it will come back and be requested for.
Now,
abatement.
what are they asking for from the state?
They're getting,
They're getting the EMD loan from the state
Okay.
for the road improvements.
and
It's
and
not
just
just
a grant,
that
it's
they
a
had to
loan.
have
bigger
something
picture,
from
this
the
is a
state.
$4 million investment, 90 new jobs, $6 million added to their payroll.
So this has nothing, at one time we discussed a lot of other stuff like us being involved in a building and all that. None of, this is just strictly agreeing to an abatement.
Correct. In the future,
Okay.
not today. Good?
I'm just curious, we never had a memorandum of understanding in reference to, a tax exemption.
The reason we've done it is, if you remember a couple of years ago, when we had Summerfield Assisted Living, and they went through all the whole process, and then we said no, and then we came back and said yes. We'd rather have some understanding going in to give the customer a
We are
comfort level,
MDA.
all of us, a comfort level that this is a possibility when the project's complete, as long as they complete it with the parameters that are outlined.
Are we committing to this tax exemption under this MOU, or will it come back to us for approval?
I think you'll have to approve the abatement that you are entering into a memorandum of understanding, or they've entered into a memorandum of understanding with the board's concurrence, that at the appropriate time, meeting the conditions of the MOU, the county shall give them 100%
Are
abatement.
we approving it?
Well,
For all practical purposes, at this point, we are approving the tax exemption.
You're
Because
into an
if we're
agreement
doing an MOU saying that we will do it,
if they meet the conditions.
if they meet the conditions, yeah.
So
And you get a second look
Okay.
when it comes back for the full approval.
imagine they would debate that a little bit, but if you got an MOU and they meet the conditions, they're gonna say the board has to give them
Exactly.
a tax abatement, but if they meet the conditions, you would probably.
We would probably do it anyway.
Right. Now, this is 100%, which the board has not done before. 100% for 5 years.
100% for 5 years.
Now, if you remember, I think you can go up to 10, isn't that right?
Yeah.
If you remember.
But it comes back now. We're only committing to the 5 years even in this MOU.
Correct.
If you remember, the tax assessor, the previous tax assessor, had advocated that when you give these 50% for 10 years. He would prefer that you do 100% for 5 years because of the problems in calculating that 50% every year. So you're really giving 50% over 10 years is effectively what you're doing. But which does make it easier on the tax assessor.
To do the 100% for 5 years.
No, the 100% is just on the expansion. It's not
That's all.
everything.
That's all right. Yeah. That's all. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing, did you have something? No. Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Under item 16, order acknowledging receipt of and approving petitions for the decreases to the 2024 real and personal property roll as recommended by the tax assessor.
Motion. Second.
Discussion, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Order acknowledging receipt of and approving petitions for decreases to the 2023 real and personal property roll as recommended by the tax assessor.
Motion. Second.
Discussion, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Order spreading upon the minutes personnel changes for the tax collector's office as listed and on file with the payroll clerk and human resource department.
Motion. Second.
Discussion, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Circuit clerk order approving contract for services by and between Harrison County Board of Supervisors and Harrison County Circuit Clerk for the purpose of programming the necessary electronic voting equipment as provided by the Mississippi Code 23-15505 annotated and authorizing the board president to execute the same.
Motion. Second.
Discussion, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Consider granting an easement to CenterPoint Energy Resources Corporation for the installation and maintenance of natural gas line across the front of the parcel for the Traditions Fire Station. Easement description and exhibit are attached for reference. If granted, authorize the board president to execute the easement documents for following legal review.
Motion. Second.
Discussion. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Order acknowledging receipt of grant award letter for fiscal year 2024 for emergency preparedness grant in the amount of $139,342.02 and authorizing the board president and the EMA director to execute closeout.
Motion. Second.
Discussion. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order approving travel for Matt Stratton to attend the National Emergency Management Advanced Academy, January 5th through 10th, 2025, March 2nd through 7th, 2025, April 6th through 11th, 2025, and July 13th through 18th, 2025 in Pearl, Mississippi.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? Hear none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Senior Resource Agency approval out-of-state travel is listed.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? Hear none, all in favor signify by aye. Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Mr. Nolan, zoning administrator.
Zoning recommends concurring with the planning commission recommendations for case 24.
Motion.
Discussion?
Second.
Hear none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Order concurring with the county administrator on employment as listed on file with the payroll clerk and personnel department.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? Hear none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Purchasing department, order accepting the only proposal of Mississippi Security Police received for security services at the Juvenile Detention Center, Biloxi, Mississippi, authorizing the board attorney to negotiate contract pricing for contract to begin at issuance and ending January 3rd, 2028, and authorizing the board president to execute the same.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? Hear none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Order spreading upon the minutes, list of emergency, low quote, and state contract orders issued by the purchasing department for the month of October 2024.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? Here none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order authorizing advertisement for bid on a lease purchase option for a used off-road dump truck as recommended by Sand Beach Director.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Recognize Sheriff as he reports the number of persons currently housed in the jail.
You zipping through these things today, ain't you?
Yes,
Total inmate count is 774. 217 of those are state inmates. 25 of them are ready to go. 69 misdemeanors, 59 federal inmates, 14 juveniles at the ADC, and 17 at youth detention, all Harrison County.
Sheriff, excuse me, what was the total number?
774 at the jail.
Going down a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
Order approving the purchase of a 2025 Chevy Silverado crew cab four-wheel drive from Cannon Chevrolet Cadillac Nissan State Contract number 8200077349. Item number 071-05-40028-2 at a cost of $51,984 per vehicle, payable from 001-200-915.
Motion.
Second, discussion. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order approving the purchase of 12 2025 Ford Explorers from Lander South Ford State Contract number 8200077549. Item number 071-8046050-8 at a cost of $43,600 per vehicle, payable from 001-200-915.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed by no, motion carries. Order spreading upon the minutes personnel changes of the sheriff's office as listed with payroll clerk and human resources.
Motion. Second.
Discussion?
Thank you.
Yes, sir?
Just tell them thank you for
Oh,
doing that job for us.
good deal. Thank you. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. County Administrator order approving travel is listed.
Motion. Second.
Discussion?
Mr. Lavin, you can delete board attorney from B if you'd like, I take my own.
Okay.
email.
Good, thank you. Just out of curiosity, legally, we could do that, or can we? Pay
You
for a
could.
contract employee, your contract.
You could do it, but I don't have a problem with paying. We have some fun when we go.
Yeah. Good deal. All right. Let
The
the
county
motion,
doesn't need to pay for us to go.
let the motion reflect Mr. Holland's withdrawal from.
We'll go, but I don't mean we're not.
Going, but approval to go, but not the,
Yeah, just
not the
removing
county
the
to
board
pay,
attorney.
just removing the board attorney. He's still permitted and requested to go.
Yes.
Thank you. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order approving payment of claims is listed, payable from the tort account.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order adjudicating signatory letter for the Harrison County Beachfront Resilient Project MDEQ Agreement number 23-00023 for payment request forms and project-related documents.
Motion.
Discussion? Here none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order adding Jeannie Herring, Senior Services, to take on vehicle list.
Motion. Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, just, Robbie, make sure that since it's a county vehicle, it has GPS and she's covered on the commuting policy that we have. That's all of that.
Okay, any further discussion? Here none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order acknowledging receipt of check number 176718 in the amount of $183,933.26 from the Harrison County School District as reimbursement for school resource officers.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? All in favor signify by aye. Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order authorizing reimbursement to the sheriff's office account 001-200-542 for the, as details listed, for details listed.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order authorizing reimbursement to the road fund 150-000-360 for following as details listed.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye. Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order approving claims docket for Mississippi Code of 1972 annotated section 19-13-27.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by aye. Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order authorizing issuance of duplicate warrants as listed.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order approving payment of claims as listed.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order acknowledging receipt of updated monthly report showing expenditures and liabilities incurred against each separate budget item and receipts of property taxes and other revenues for the month of September 2024, and the monthly report showing expenditures and liabilities incurred against each separate budget item and receipts of property taxes and other revenues for the month of October 2024, submitted by Chancellor Clerk Angela Thrash.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carried. Board adjourned. Order adjudicating the employment of Timothy Holloman and Boyce Holloman and Associates to represent Harrison County, and Paula Ladner in their official capacity as tax assessor of Harrison County, Mississippi, and in the civil action number A2401-24-231, reference T-Mobile South.
Motion.
Second, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Approving donations to the Salvation Army in the amount of $20,000 pursuant to the authority granted by Mississippi Code annotated section 19-5-93 payable from 001-457-778. Do I hear a motion?
Motion. Second.
Pardon?
Motion.
Discussion? What account?
That's what I was gonna, I knew that this came up and we tabled it last time, so who brought it back up at 20,000?
Yeah, it was.
It was
we're
written-
able to-
So we're gonna treat this as an appropriation from the general fund and not from the escrow.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's the account.
That's the account,
Yeah.
yes. 001's general fund. Am I correct, Walt?
Yeah, that's correct. 157 is the department code for appropriations for other entities.
Gotcha.
So we follow it through that.
Yes, we're just gonna appropriate this money, instead of escrow.
Good deal. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order approving the use of fairground soccer field by the West Harrison County Middle School soccer team as it terms of the interlocal governmental cooperation agreement between Harrison County and the county school district.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order approving purchase of lights for the social Christmas in the park from Home Depot in the amount of $1,158 payable from 002-100-697.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion?
Doc, is that gonna be at the social ballpark, the little park right there that's next to the ballpark?
I'm not sure. Do we know?
Yes, right there on,
Social Xander? Okay.
And this is the county purchasing the lights.
correct. And I don't know that we're having an actual event there.
Right.
I think we're just decorating it. We had quit decorating it, from my understanding, because a bunch of the stuff got vandalized. And so we didn't really have anything, so we're just trying to do something out there.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Order approving up to $2,000 payable from 002-100-695 to be used for District 4 Community Christmas Festival at Isaiah Fredericks Community Center. Date and time to be determined.
Motion. That's it.
Discussion, this is a county purchasing this will be. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Order adjudicating and authorizing expenditures as listed as necessary to advertise and bring into favorable notice the opportunities, possibilities, and resources of Harris County, including all forms of advertising, including but not limited to broadcast advertising, logo recognition on publicity collateral, other media, and all broadcast, printed material, and signage along with the link displayed to Harrison County online.
Motion. Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye. Aye. Those opposed by no, the motion carries. All right, let's go, I think we're gonna have some executive session, let's go around the table first.
Yeah, do
Oh, I'm sorry, do the agenda, I keep forgetting about that. Under Personnel Department, order concurring with the county administrator on employment as listed on file with payroll clerk in Personnel Department.
Motion. Second.
All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, motion carries. Discussion of American Express Global Business Travel Portal and credit card. Discussion, Mr.
Motion.
Motion to discuss second. All in favor signify by aye. Discussion.
So Doc, what we're trying to do right now, travel is a nightmare. Last week, I believe it was, we had a conference, Supervisors Barrett's room got canceled. It is just a nightmare. We're trying to manage it all through my office. So we reached out to American Express Global Travel. What that allows us to do, it is a website where every county employee would have a login. They could go in, set a preference, a travel preference. They would be able to go into this portal and book their own travel. With using the portal, what it does is it allows us to kind of set parameters and curtail by profile what room they would want, they would get, or what options they would get. It can be tied and linked to one card. Selena could reconcile the card. It gives us an approval threshold. So once the employee goes in and books their trip, and we're able to do airfare, we're able to do hotel rooms, rental cars, and train through this one portal. By using American Express also, what it does is it gives us a lot of purchasing power because there's already pre-negotiated rates through vendors and preferred vendors like Hilton Properties. They've got group rates. Marriott is in there. You get really good discounts with American Express. They will do they insure trips, 24-hour support. If there's changes to the trip, all the employee has to do is log on to the portal. They deal with American Express, we get one bill. They will support all 1,000 employees of the county for $3,400 a year.
Right, you're saying each employee will go into the portal?
Correct, yes, sir. Each
At
employee.
what time, for example, when is the fee, or how are we gonna control this?
Who's gonna do the approvals?
Who's gonna do the approval?
That will come through my office. We will have.
Before or after?
Before the trip is taken. So the
Before
employee-
the trip is taken, or before the plans are made through the portal?
Correct. So what will happen is, let's say we have an employee that needs to travel to Jackson. They will log into this portal, their login, basically it asks them, what do you need today? Do you need a hotel, train, plane, whatever? They'll select hotel, they'll select the time frame. Then it'll give them a list of where are we going, Jackson, Mississippi, and it will pull all available hotels for Jackson, Mississippi during that time frame and give that employee their choices that they can choose from. Normally it'd be a Marriott property or a Hilton property. Not bottom end, not the top of the list either. They will go through and select the room they want. From there, it will generate an approval, which will go to my office. Once the board approves travel on the agenda, we will approve that trip. That employee will then be emailed an itinerary. You know, if there's plane, train, or all their confirmation numbers, boarding passes, confirmations for the hotel room, and that
So
is their.
before anything's consummated, it comes through your office.
That is
for
correct.
approval. You will see it, and then the board will approve it.
The
But
board
before
will-
there's any charges or anything,
The board will
Authorized.
approve it before any reservations are even made.
I have a question. On some of these conferences, you can't book like you're saying, you have to go through like NACO, for instance. And if you book a hotel room, you just book and it's sort of, if the host hotel's full, then there's a secondary and a third hotel. So if you're trying to be where the conference is taking place, is there a physical credit card number to use for those instances when you can't book through their portal and book one of those host hotels?
We have reached out to American Express. If there is a conference, they can pull those hotels in as well.
Okay. So even if it's blocked out? by
Even
the
if it's
conference?
blocked out, we can still get them through American Express Global Travel.
That'd have to be done way in advance, so
It
any of
would.
this stuff in order to
That's
get on the agenda and all that stuff, I mean.
Will we still have a backup for
Yeah.
what Nathan was
Because
speaking
NACO,
of? We
for
just need a
instance, I
backup in
know-
case that
I
happens.
know, I'm not, but some people are going, I think it was on the agenda today for DC.
Correct.
And so whenever it's in March, yeah. If you're going to that trip, you can't go and just book, well, I mean, you can go book a hotel, but if you wanna be in a
It's a
host
lot more
hotel,
expensive.
yeah, so I think I looked and it was like $275 if you book through NACO, and it's like $675 if you just go book the hotel. So is there a way, if that doesn't work, for us to go through NACO to get the room?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
okay?
And Doc, in addition to that, Walt is also working with American Express. We are working on getting some travel cards on board and just key players, American Express, and that will be for travel only.
And this has been checked against all the parameters of what the state laws are and stuff for travel and all that?
Walt has
We just
checked
wanna
it
make
with
sure
the
we-
state, Trish and Tim have checked it. It's been double vetted. So we are within our rights.
Then the chair will entertain a motion to allow the county administrator to proceed doing whatever. Motion.
Second.
All in favor, signify by aye. Aye. Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Discuss alternative parking options due to the closure of the parking garage at Gulfport Courthouse.
Doc, again, since we have closed the parking garage, parking is a challenge. We've had a couple of scenarios that we've looked at, the parking garage down by the aquarium. I did reach out to Billy Hughes, Mayor of Gulfport, last week. Through an interlocal agreement, the parking garage, a long time ago, I'm showing my age now, it used to be Corinne Foley. That would be kind of to the rear, to the east of Gulfport Police Department on 22nd Avenue, just over the tracks.
Yeah, yeah.
That lot is vacant. I think through an interlocal, we're working with Mr. Bruni on hammering out an agreement there through an interlocal. What my recommendation was, is, I have not, but I was gonna reach out to Jeff Clark. Originally, we were talking about utilizing CTA to transport. Got to thinking, you know, we have our own buses. Harrison County has our own buses. Jeff Clark has them. We have drivers. We can maybe do our own shuttle service through senior services as long as we're not impeding and or taking away from senior services. So, kind of what I would recommend is maybe moving employee parking down there to free up parking for customers and people around the courthouse. But we could run a shuttle service, park there, shuttle to the courthouse, kind of like a valet, if you
Rather
would.
than the garage.
Rather than the garage, yes, sir. It is closer, and it's right there.
Just so the board knows, the city has a lease on that property, the Turian Foley property, which they leased it at, they've agreed to pay the ad valorem taxes in 12 equal payments. And they're willing to sublet it to the county for whatever period of time to accommodate this use. So it's at minimal cost. It would, I don't know what the ad valorem taxes are, I didn't look, but it couldn't be that much. There's even a possibility you could argue with the tax assessor that it's exempt since the county's leasing it, but I don't want to go there. But there is the property across the street, which I understand is for sale, they want a lot of money for it.
Yeah,
And that only holds like 15 vehicles.
Yeah, it don't hold a lot, and
Yeah.
we are gonna have to vacate that lot. They do want our vehicles off that lot, so we will be vacating that lot, which will add to the parking.
They might lease it if they made an offer of lease, but it's high. I mean, if the board wants to take a shot, just see what they'll lease it for 15 vehicles for a period of time, that will still be available.
I'd go with this.
Yeah.
I would suggest this, security. I don't know if security people could,
Patrol the lot.
yeah, to be there in the mornings and afternoons.
It's right across from the police
Right
station.
next
Yeah, I mean, it's literally.
If they're vacated.
The reason that I bring that issue up, when the last time this occurred, and we did lease, or use the parking federal,
Garage.
garage, there were issues about homeless bothering our employees, scaring them, so I'm just simply saying, be prepared to provide maybe some security, or somebody to monitor that parking area.
I can add that in as well.
Yeah, that's just my suggestion.
With the discussion of that parking garage, I know the employees and obviously, you know, the constituents, it was on XXV and all the news outlets. We need updates on where we're on with that, where we are with getting it moving, with getting it repaired, figure out what's wrong with it. So what the solutions are, but we need to send out emails and keep the employees up on what's going on with it.
So I can give you a brief update on that. We did have an engineer we wanted to use out of Mobile. They did not want to take the job. They have given us to an alternative engineer. We started talking Friday, Jackie?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I just sent you his proposal he sent me yesterday, so we can look at getting that executed and scheduling the next level inspection.
I just think being transparent about all of it as much as possible
Yeah.
is the best avenue for this.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I don't think, do you need any action by the board to do the parking?
Just permission to proceed, Tim, we can do that on.
Negotiate with Gulfport, Tim.
The only thing maybe the board could go ahead and do an order authorizing the negotiation of the lease and the board president to sign the lease. Get it done, otherwise you have to wait till the next meeting
That's
to
right.
approve an agreement.
Chair will entertain that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor, signify by aye. Those opposed by no. Motion carried. Is that it, Ron? That's it. I
As
think we did
administrator,
that.
you'll work and tell which employees need to park there.
I will, yes.
Sheriff, you got anything?
I do not.
Mr. Collins, anything else?
No.
Supervisor Barrett? Mr. Jones? Well, I need all. I'm gonna break that pattern because I do. I'd like to make some recommendations to fill positions that are actually vacant, that have not been filled, or they're not vacant, but their term has expired. I'd like to appoint Bobby Spade, Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College Board, which will expire on December of this year. I would entertain a motion.
Motion.
Discussion, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by no, motion carries. And these are District 3 appointments now. Jimmy Levens to the Harrison County Development Commission, position had expired on 10/31/2018. 2018.
Motion.
Second. Discussion, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Jenna Bass, Harrison County Resource Agency, that position with, expired 2020, January of 2020.
Motion.
Discussion, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed by no, the motion carries. And Tammy Gray to recommend serving on the Harrison County Library Board from the city of Pass Christiana.
Motion.
Discussion, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Okay, that's it for me. Ann?
No, sir, I have
Yeah, that's what, Andrew? Tim?
Yeah, request for the Development Commission to have an executive session regarding two potential developments in Harrison County business development. That qualifies for executive session.
Okay.
Helio and Sand.
Leo and Sand. Okay.
I think they're outside.
Chair will entertain a motion for the Board of Supervisors go into executive session. With the suggestion, reasons expressed by the attorney. Second. All in favor, signify by aye. Those opposed by no, the motion carries. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, we're going into executive session.
I sent a letter to Leo Floyd, who's the owner of our soccer complex. And she told him she was going to all buildings will be erected without permit. And told him he had one chair.
Yes, sir, thank you for coming.
Yeah, like a charter.